G'day everyone and welcome back to Steve's Place Down Under. Today we're going to get this F10 Volvo going, but I thought we'd share some history of it because it hasn't just carted dirt or anything like that. It's had a fairly colourful past, and I'm with Craig Bullen. Craig was the owner and the driver, and he's from the family that owns Bullen's Circus and
that's it.
Bullen's Animal World and all that sort of thing, mate. He's got a lot of good stories to tell, and as you said, mate, the truck's seen a lot more places than most of us ever will in our lifetime. So
yeah, no, it sure has, Steve. Yeah, it hasn't, probably hasn't done a whole heap of miles, but it's a 79 model. We brought it in, must have been 97,
yep.
end of 97 we bought it. It was a tanker from Port Kembla running up to Sydney, so it's probably seen Bulli Pass or
usually in Bulli Pass, yeah,
one or two or four times. It was a pretty tight truck when we bought it. But we bought it for our elephant semi,
okay, to
cart our elephants around Australia virtually. So yeah, got the truck in 97, and pretty much I took off for the next 5 years with our elephants. Worked on a couple of different shows around Australia.
So just circus shows, like?
Yeah, just your regular circuses, yeah.
Yep.
And we went, we're here in Sydney. We went to Cairns, to Darwin, to Alice, all through the Kimberley, Broome, Perth, Southwest WA, Esperance, Albany, South Australia, the York Peninsula, Melbourne, obviously down there, all through that country, through the Murray Valley there, and it just the list goes on. Through the New England. 1 year there, we did the North Run, what we call it, from Brisbane up to Port Douglas, north of Cairns. You go up the coast and then come back inland, zigzagging the mining towns and things like that. I think on that year, I only put about 4 tanks of fuel in it. Didn't do a whole heap of miles, but we're still driving.
It's still a long way from here, mate.
Yeah. It's still a long way, but I'm sure I only put about 4 tanks of fuel in for the whole year. Just doing 100, 120 k's each week. Sometimes further out west there, bloody Longreach and Hughenden and stuff like that, down through the mining there, Surat and Theodore, a bit longer in between, but yeah, it was a good truck. Put a set of filters in bloody once a year.
I'll never let you down mechanically?
Never let me down, no. Still got a nice, tight 16-speed box in it.
Yep. Volvo box?
Volvo box, yeah. Engine never blew any smoke, stuff like that.
And you just carted elephants with it? On a flat top, or did it have a cage or anything on it?
Yeah, no, we had a bogie drop deck trailer. I think the bottom deck was about 29 foot. We had a crate. It originally was a triple deck cattle crate. We pulled all the insides out, gutted the inside, and ended up with aluminium sides on it, actually.
Okay.
But it kept the elephants nice and safe and stopped them getting into mischief and pulling trees down in towns when you're going through towns and that under low trees. But no, it was a good honest truck. Yeah, wasn't going to set any land speed records, that's for sure. But you could poke along. The crate was, about 2.5 tonne. The elephants weighed at best, if they all had full bellies, maybe bloody 9 or 10 tonne. So it wasn't a big load on it by all means, but you pretty much poke along at 100 k's.
And that didn't bother the elephants, the speed? You didn't have to do any sort of speed for those?
No. They've been doing it all their life.
They travelled well?
They travelled well, yeah.
And you've had a few Volvos over the years because of the reliability, or just with the price of them?
Oh, probably a bit of the price, and of course we always did long miles. Not that we're ever in a hurry, but we always did big miles, and they were just a bit comfortable.
A bit more comfortable,
yeah,
that's
a bit
right.
More comfortable,
a bit quieter, and
as well. Yeah, and parts are easy to get. Yeah, that's about the story of the old girl. And I don't know, we might have parked it here in. This is where we parked it, I don't know, middle 2000s, I suppose, about 2005.
So we're talking 20 years?
20 years, yeah.
21 years.
Been parked here 20 years. Those trees behind will tell us how long it's been.
Yeah, they do. They're fairly thick at the bottom, mate.
How long it's been parked. You look back and say, you should have put it in a shed and stuff there, but things were busy and stuff, and yeah, that's just how things ended up.
It's more of a tool in those days, not about looking after it and
preserving
it,
that's right. That's right. We're using it, and used to, cart the odd semi-load of hay once a year for when we were back here, you know, we go and get a semi-load of hay, you know, maybe 3 times a year, I suppose, just thinking. Big rectangles.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was all the work it saw, so yeah.
It's been around, mate. You said equivalent probably 3 times around Australia. And everything in between.
And everything in between, yeah. You know, just the Nullarbor itself, I think it's done 5 trips. Like, that's return trips across the Nullarbor. Always used to camp in the middle of the Nullarbor with the elephants. I got to know one of the roadhouses there, Mundrabilla. The guy'd get a water tank in for me. I'd tell him I'd be there bloody 5 o'clock tonight. He'd have a water tank in there. Everyone else had to pay for water, but the elephants got water for free. So yeah, I'd always camp there, go from Sejuna, Mundrabilla to Norseman or vice versa, and he'd always get water there sorted for me. Used to get a bit tricky carting hay up, especially heading north out of Perth, carting enough hay, because you know you sometimes had to carry 2 or 3 weeks of hay. You could always get the compressed oaten bales of hay there that they use for export. I'd always try and carry 80 or 100 of them all the time with me.
Okay. So we're in Sydney at the moment, everyone. I don't know if I mentioned that, but so Perth, what Craig's talking about, is a hell of a long way away, and the Nullarbor is a lot of nothing for days, mate, isn't it?
Can be.
Oh, that's great. So that's how far away from home he was with this truck, and it is a shame to see the condition it's in, but that's, as I said, that's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I could take off here and from here where we stand with the elephants, and I'd be in Perth 7 days later. And I just sort of, you know, you drive maybe, you know, you get up at daylight and you try and pull up an hour before dark, unload the elephants in the light, and, you know, let them have a drink and give them as much food as they want, and let them have a rest all night, and then we just do the same again. So
they'd be standing the whole way, the elephants?
Yeah, stand the whole way.
Yep.
The whole way, yeah.
Wow.
But they'd always lie down and have a good sleep each night. But yeah, it was nothing for us to jump in the truck, load the elephants, take off to Perth.
Yep.
People find that hard to believe, but it's just what we did.
Oh, it's amazing, mate. Even the stories you've told me about the other trucks that we've started, you weren't on camera, but just before and after was just amazing. Like,
yeah,
they didn't just cart dirt or steel; it was a specialised loads.
It was never on their consignments. That's for sure. Yeah. That's for sure.
Oh, it's just wonderful. So, what's your plan with it from now, mate? Is it going to sit here as a feature at the yard, or is it?
Well, it could possibly. I don't know. I suppose we'll see what happens when you get it going. Maybe you can get a rego pass for it. I don't know. But
might have to do it in the dark.
It'd be nice to see it kick over again, but who knows, Steve, what'll become of it. You know, it was the last elephant truck towing elephants in this country.
Is that right?
It was the last truck to tow elephants,
I'm glad you said that. That makes it all worthwhile too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the end of an era, you know.
And why is that? They can't do that, not allowed to do that anymore?
Well, there's no elephants to transport. You know, there's a few elephants in the zoos, but all the circus elephants...
And they don't move, do they? The zoo animals,
no.
Only the show animals, is that?
Yeah, only the circus animals. And our last elephant died in 2019.
Yep.
But yeah, I actually moved the very last elephant in this country, circus elephant. I moved from northern Victoria up here to Sydney Zoo. Just the last elephant from the Perry family. It was the last circus elephant on the road in this country. I don't think it'll pass rego somehow.
No. I'm a bit worried even about putting the cab up, mate, if it's going to end up in front of us here, or I should just lean in underneath her and give her a go. I'm not sure.
Stand back, I think. Stand back.
I noticed the throttle pedals sitting on the tyre, but I'll do a quick walk around and
work that out. Look out there'll be a few wasps somewhere amongst it.
Oh, thank you for your time, Craig, and
good, mate.
How about we get to work and we'll see what she does, eh?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I am too, mate.
I don't know what the hell you're going to do, but I'm excited about it.
Oh, mate, I don't know if anyone noticed the Elephant Man. That's recently weathered off, but that's what it was called.
That's right. Yeah, bit of fun.
That's just magnificent, mate. It just fits it really well. All right, how about we see what we can do with her? Okay, we're back. So it's a few weeks later. We come up the following day and it was raining and miserable, and that really makes for a hard to watch video with the fog and everything on the screen, and walking around in the wet grass. It's just not fun. So what I'm doing here is I was just having a look before we started filming, and it's got a series parallel switch, which what they do is, so you have two batteries, and what it'll do is convert start to 24 and then the system is 12. So they'll convert those two batteries to series, which will make two 12-volt batteries 24 volt, and then when it starts and you let the key go, it'll go back to parallel, and then you've got two batteries running your 12-volt system with all your gauges and lights, and I'd imagine the alternator's even charging at 12. So there's a couple of leads missing. You don't just have a crossover lead on a series parallel. There should be 4 leads here. There's only 2. So what I'm going to do is go around that, because in my experience, if your batteries are down a bit, you'll blow that thing up, and at $500 or $600 a pop, it's not worth it. Admittedly, this truck's not going on the road, but we still don't want to hurt anything. So what I might do is go straight to the starter. It won't backfeed into the system and hurt any 12-volt components in the truck. So I'll have to do that with the cab up. What we might do is, I don't want to cut these trees down. I didn't ask him about that. They're only weeds, but they sort of make for a bit of a nice entrance too. So I don't want to wreck that. I will trim some branches if I have to get the cab up. Just ones that I'm going to be leaning in and everything. First we'll have to drop the bull bar. We may top the water up while the cab's here, because the header tank will go over with the cab. So we'll top the water up while it's like this, and then we'll throw the cab over and check everything else. Okay, so I haven't checked the water, but I'm just assuming it's going to be gone. Trouble is with these old hoses, they rot out. Whatever they do behind the scenes when they sit around, in some cases they don't rot out and the water still disappears. I've only got 20 litres with me. I'm not sure if there's any town water here where we are. Sounds a little bit promising. I can't hear too much hitting the ground. It's actually sounding like it's filling up fairly quick too, so it's going to be enough to start it. It's in the header tank, which is more than enough, but I'll give it more. I can see it in there, so it's more than enough to start, and we're certainly not going to be driving it or getting it hot by any means. So I won't be able to drive it because the pedal's gone through the floor, and they're a hydraulic clutch system, hydraulic over air, so that's certainly going to be seized up. Okay, I'm surprised it's not running out on the ground. I mean, apart from what I spilt, it's not bad at all. I'm going to disturb it a little bit by throwing the cab over, because all the hoses, I think even the radiator comes forward with the cab on these Volvos. I know the 88s and 89s it does. I've never had much to do with one of these. I did have 2 of them at once, but not on the road, just got given to me. So we'll throw the bull bar over, then the cab, and we'll try and bleed her up, and I don't think it'll take much at all. Probably hasn't been dropped since 1997 when it was parked. Could even be before that. I was going to say, I hope it don't fall right off. Just looking at this cab block here, you can see the trees growing around it. I only brought a handsaw. I didn't bring any power equipment, no whippersnipper or anything for the grass. But I think it will move. I think there's only one as well. And from memory, Volvos only have a like a torsion bar at the front. They don't have a cab jack, like a hydraulic one, like a Kenworth. Hopefully we can just pull that lever and throw her up and over. As long as it doesn't land on the lawn in front of it, I think we'll be fine. Get the lever bar and just try and give her a bit from the back here. I was fairly sure that lever did everything, unless it's not right over. Unless the mechanism itself's not working because of rust. It actually has let go, so I'm now not sure what's holding it. Unless it is hydraulic and I'm not seeing the pump. She has let go there. Okay, I'm just going to trim a couple of these branches. I've just found the reason it's heavy is because it's not torsion bar, these later ones, it is hydraulic, so it's different to the 88s and 89s. Oh, it's rotten, I didn't need to cut that one. And another thing I just found in amongst the bush is another battery tray here. So I have got 2 charged batteries. I might put one in there, either side, and see if that parallel switch does work. Got about 30 chainsaws at my place, but time you bugger eyes around and start them up and fuel them up, this is just as good. So now I've got to find the cab jack, which in most cases is usually here, but not being as familiar with this model Volvo, I'm not sure. Okay, here's the reason I can't find the cab jack. Where I thought it should be, it should be. It's been pinched. The bracket with the 2 holes in there is where it was, and you can see those 2 little steel lines now. There's not a hope I'm getting this up without that, or without the help of a tractor or something. So I figured I might just be able to reach in. All I've got to do is get to the injector pump, providing the key works. I've only got to get to the injector pump, so this inner guard here is probably the only thing in the way. I can see all the controls and the bleed screws and everything in there. It's probably what I'm going to do. I don't have to really see the engine. It was only for access, but it's holding water. It's, you know, as long as I can reach all that, I should be okay. So what I just did, I didn't want to put the camera under there. I just dropped the plug to see if there was any water in it. And there wasn't, but I couldn't get it back in quick enough. I made a little bit of a mess. I had no intentions of putting the tub under there because I just wanted to see if a couple of drips come out, but I took it out to a bit too far. So anyway, there's no water, she's all good. Now I just want to see if it does wind off those batteries before we go to the trouble of bleeding it. Okay, I'm going to try this series parallel because I've had 2 on charge. If it's a bit hesitant though, I'll just put the lead straight on it so I'm not burning that switch out. I have to get vice grips onto that one because it's shown. because there's no terminal on it. Hopefully this will work and it'll all just happen off the key, but I'll wait and see. I haven't got any terminals with me. Okay, I'll put one on the other side and just tap the key and see what she does. Okay, I'm just assuming red is red and black is black. You don't know straight away with these ones because of that series parallel. It doesn't activate until the key. I have got a bit of sandpaper. I haven't got a battery terminal cleaner, but they don't look too bad. Okay, so that's in. They're only wedged on there. I like to just wedge them on because if the starter sticks in, which it often does on these old things, you can run around and just rip them off. A disadvantage to it, it can arc and burn your post, especially with 24. Okay. All that's happening there is a series parallel switch is clicking and nothing else. I'm not going to buggerise around with it. I'll just put the lead straight onto it, and I brought my button up. We'll just put that on there as well. Okay, so I just found an isolator there. It was right in front of me. I saw it before, but then forgot about it. It was off. Now it winds, which I'm wrapped in now. I don't have to get under there with my button and them jumper leads. And so it's not stuck either. So next thing we're going to do, I have a feeling the tanks are going to have water in them, but the pickup doesn't go right to the bottom. The lids have been on them, so I think I'm just going to bleed it up and give her a go. If water gets into the system, it's only going to stop, not hurt anything. It just means I have to bleed it back out. So I think I'll just bleed her up and give it a shot. The throttle and the stopper cable are seized, so if I can just fix that up on the pump down there, I will control it from down there. It's got an air throttle too, so just the hand throttle is going to hold it in position where it's at. I'd rather have control over it. Okay, so those cables are stuck as I said. So what I'm doing is I just took the ends off the cables, the cable stop or the cable ends, just so I can control the throttle and the stopper. But in most cases we should be able to fill the rack off both of those levers, and you can't. So it's been in the stop position all this time, and I'd say the rack's been held right over. So what I'm going to do, I think you can access it through that plate there. I just cut that lock wire and take that plate off, and I'll just see if I can free the rack up. It's the only way we're going to get it going. Everything's got to be sort of done with one hand though, because I can't really reach in there between the top of the tyre and the bottom of the guard. I'm fairly sure it won't be seized solid if it's still in diesel, but it's still got to be done. Trouble is doing this with one hand, you're bound to drop something. I could get the jack out of the car and try and pump the cab up, but that's a job in itself. You've got to make sure the rack's free before you start anything, because it's either in the stop position or it's going to go to full noise. Either way is not good. Just use this. Sorry, I've got the camera sitting on the chassis rail here. If I just take my glove off, I can't feel those little screws. So this is usually where a full fuel button will be to start it, like a cold start. You generally got a ring on there, you just pull out. It'll let it go to full fuel. And when the governor pulls it back, it clicks out. I'm hoping maybe we can get access to it. Not very often an inline pump's stuck. You'll get a two-stroke Detroit stuck quite often. But inline pumps are usually pretty good. Okay, still fairly oily in there. So there's a diaphragm there. That's like a puff limiting valve type setup. I think I can see the rack there, but I can't flick it. Okay, so what I've done here, I've just put the hoses straight into a drum because I was trying to prime it to get some fuel around that rack because it's still tight. And I noticed this pickup here was loose in the tank, and so was the hose on it. So what would have happened there? That would have filled up with water, plus it would have been drawing air. So I've eliminated the water side of it. I've got probably $300 worth of diesel in that 20 litre drum, and I'm just going to try and bleed it now because that rack runs in fuel all the time apart from this end of it. Well, I assume it does. Anyway, there's going to be some sort of lubrication in there and it needs bleeding to start anyway, so I'll get some fuel up around it. I've got that pipe there cracked, and I'll bleed it up to the top of the pump, and hopefully that primer works. I just took it off and lubed it up. It was a bit dry, put some oil in it. I brought a bottle of oil up just in case it had a cab jack on it, and it should have done but it didn't, so I just tipped a bit of that in there to lubricate the seal in that lift pump. Now I'll see if she bleeds up. Hopefully you can see it. It's a very tight area. Actually, okay, so she's running out here. It's coming out this pipe here, as you can see. That means the pump's bled. Okay, I'll nip that back up. Hopefully now there's a bit of fuel around that rack. Around some component anyway that might free it up. I did get it to move, but it's still not, it's not loose enough to where the governor would pull it back if she cranked up. Okay, so I've got the rack free, but I'm going to jam it off again. I'm just going to wind it, get all those plungers going up and down, then I'll try and free it up again. I still think it's too tight for the governor to pull back, because the governor's going to try and start it in full position, and then when it picks up speed it'll pull it back to idle, and at the way it is at the moment I don't think it'll do that, but if I get all those plungers going up and down a little bit, a bit like it won't start straight away like that, and its stopper is working. If not, I'll just pull those hoses out of the drum and let it do its thing. Touch wood, that's what happens. Okay, that wasn't meant to start, which it didn't sound like it was going to, and I was just going to play with this rack again. Sorry everyone, it's not the best position, but it's all I can really do. Oh, she's all but there. She's all but there. Alright everyone, I'm going to try and start it. It's still a fraction tight, but I can run around here and control it or pull those pipes out of that drum, so I think it'll crank straight up. What's worrying me is having control over that governor, but we'll see what happens. Here we go, since 1997, see if she goes. Right, I'm going to crack a couple of injectors. Jeez, it's hard to reach in here. Really hard. You can hear the air building up and leaking in the background just from winding it over. Okay, that front one's a different size, so I'll just bleed 5 of them. Now the cameraman's going to tell me once they start leaking, or if they've leaked. I should be able to see it anyway because of that'll be wet. Okay, I'll just wind it.
Tell you what?
I'm going to turn the motor over. fuel?
From the top?
Yeah,
Nah,
we're undone it.
nah.
Okay, so I've just bled it from this end. On the ones at home, the G88s and 89s, they've got a diaphragm here which are cracked to let the air out of the system. Now, this feeds from that end and then comes back to this end and back to the tank. So I've cracked it here and it's still full of air. I just didn't read the system properly, just thinking that front plug was the same as a 88, and it's not. So there's a bunch more air's just come out of it. So the reason they're not shooting up is because there was no fuel around them. All else can be wrong is the plungers have been pushed up by the cam and stayed there. I highly doubt they all would have done that though, because there's no fuel at any of them. So I'm going to try her again with all this tightened up. Okay, it's all tight. Just charge her a bit more with it. Now it's closed. Certainly a lot tighter again, so all that air's out of it. Any air's on its way back to the tank now in that pipe. Anything?
No.
Okay, that's going to do it for today. I've got other commitments. It's Sunday. I've got to get going and do some other stuff. I think what's happened is that camshaft in that fuel pump has pushed all the plungers up and they've stayed there, because that rack was very tight and they'd be the same. They're lubricated by the same fuel. What needs to happen is either get down through the top, take the delivery valves out and try and push them all down, or pull the pump off and take the plate off the other side and access them all that way. Either way, there's a bit of work and the cab's got to come up, but I'm not going to give up. It's just not at my place and there's a bit of a drive, and we'll get to it when we can. So this episode may take a few weeks, but it's still not going to affect the viewing.
It's gonna what?
Okay, it's a week later, after we bled it last week. The plungers are obviously all soaked in diesel for the it's been a week now. I've been actually doing a bit of field service with a service truck out on site, so I called in on my way past, because I drive past here every day, twice a day, and I lifted the cab up with the crane. Someone had knocked the jack off, and so what we're going to do now is, just before I take any of those out to try and push the plungers down, I want to see if any of them work. After they've been soaked and under spring tension, they may have popped back down. I think at least 3 or 4 of them are working. I think it'll start, and once we get a bit of heat around them, they may come in, the rest of them. But I'll get my wife to film it while I reach around and hit the key. I haven't really got a proper spanner to undo these, but you can't really blow air back down because they've got a check valve in there. So I may just try and get it going on the 3 that are working, and a bit of luck, a bit of heat and add around it, and vibrations might let them go. Cylinders might start coming in. Okay, so what I'm doing, putting the injector lines back on. They're tight down the bottom, but I'll leave them cracked up here until they bleed up, then we'll nip them up and get her running on 3. She might, as I said, vibrate the rest down, or the heat might help or something. I'd say they'll start coming in. We're just going to wind it and see if we can get fuel up to these last 3. Yep. Which 3 was it? The front 3 or the back 3?
Back 3.
Okay. Yep, stop. I'm trying to do all this one hand for you all here. So 4, 5 and 6 have got fuel. I don't know if it's enough to start such a big engine, but it'll help save the batteries at least while we try and get the other ones going. So I'll keep these spanners handy on me. The rack is free enough now, so we'll just see what she's going to do. Yep. It's very glary today, so I just hope you can all still see this. This is going to turn the key so I can act on the pump if anything happens. I'll try and get the smoke as well as the action down here. I think she's a bit short. Oh, she's having a bit of a cough. She goes. Hold it. Okay, so while that was happening, number 3 started coming in. So we've now got 4 active ones. So give her another go. Just notice a bit of moisture around number 2 there as well. Yep. Hold it. Sorry for yelling, we'll try and edit that out. Okay, so we now have 5 active cylinders. All right, try her again.
Again?
Yep. Just going to give her a bit of a sniff down the inlet of the turbo just to save those batteries a little bit. All right.
Leave it on. If it starts.
Yeah. You won't be able to turn it off. Oh, I was going to get it with the phone, doesn't matter. All right, try it. All right, everyone, we'll give her another go. It's not idling, it's getting a bit rough, but I just want to crack some injector lines. I had the wrong spanner with me. One's 17, the rest are 19, so they're all firing now. Number 1 come in when it was going, which is great. So what I've done is I've just increased the idle screw a little bit until she settles down, then we'll put her back to where she was, just so I can do a walk around and check some things out. Righto. Out, mate. Yeah, let me have a look. This is what I thought. The clutch is hydraulic over air. So a bit of a mess on that line there. But gee, she sounds nice. Very smooth. I reckon they sound brilliant, Volvos. to shut her off because of the coolant. So as I said before, the header tank and stuff like that goes with the cab. In the 88s and 89s, the radiator goes with the cab as well. So those steel lines connecting it all have rusted, and it has got green coolant in it, so they've obviously rusted from the outside in, which is fairly typical, and stuff like this I've started over the years. But what an absolute beauty. Sounds fantastic. Okay everyone, hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I certainly enjoyed it. There was a few trips to and from home forgetting things and getting bits and pieces, but you know, it was worth it in the end, I think, to see the old girl come alive again. Since '97, I think she behaved fairly well actually, but that fuel pump was dry and the rack was stuck and the plungers were stuck, and I think just bleeding it last week, it soaked the moving parts in diesel over the week, and she all started coming good, so I didn't have to pull the pump apart, which is what I expected to do today. So hopefully you all enjoyed that. There's plenty more of this to come. I've got a lot to do at home, but if we can, there's a lot of stuff around paddocks I can go and chase, but it's just getting time. I get one day a week to do this stuff, so hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.